Are you looking for some quick and easy country crafts to put on your Christmas tree? If so, then this is the video for you. Hello, I'm Caroline, and today I'm going to make 10 decorations that are on a country theme, and then I'm going to decorate my tree, and I really can't wait to get to the decorating bit. But first we have to make those crafts. If at any point you decided that you're really enjoying this video, then don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. Right, no time to chat. Let's get on with the crafting. I'm really looking forward to this country theme today for my Christmas tree. Don't forget to stay till the end because I'll be decorating the tree in the country style. And I'm going to start by making a Christmas garland in the country style. I'm going to use some twine in natural, I suppose, and some in red. I've got some little bits and pieces of red hearts and trees, stars, that sort of thing. And I've got bits of wood. Now, ideally, I would use smaller pieces of wood and they'd all be very even and uniform, but I don't have any, so I like to use what I've got. I found all these little bits of driftwood. I've cut them into roughly 2-inch strips and then drilled a hole through the middle. Well, that's not very much in the middle, is it? That's dreadful. We'll hold this one up. I've drilled this right through the middle. And I'm going to use some little bits of shredded fabric. So I'll start by showing you what I do with the shredded fabric. I'm going to mark on my desktop 8 centimetres. So there's the beginning of the 8, there's the end of the 8, and it just saves measuring over and over again. I've torn the strips like that because I want them to look tatty. We're making shabby bow type things. Start off against the one line, so this is the one side of the shabby bow, and then build up some layers. This particular shabby bow is going to be in beiges and whites, and the other ones are going to be in red. So I'm layering about 7 pieces of fabric. Get a piece of twine, and then if that's 8 centimetres, then I can tie a knot there where the other piece of tape is, if you see what I mean. Nice and tight. And don't snip the ends off. Then rather than measure it again, fold it in half and chop it. It's a shabby tassel rather than a shabby bow, really, isn't it? Call it a shabby tassel, but it's sort of a bow as well. I want it to open out a bit. I don't want it to be like that. So now make lots more. I got a pile of browns and beiges and a pile of whites and reds. The next thing I do is measure off and cut a piece of twine the length I want the garland to be. As you can see, I've made a bit of a start because this is a long process, so I thought I'd get myself a head start before we begin because filming 10 crafts is quite time consuming, plus I've got to decorate that tree. I've got these different shapes, but they're not really the right colour scheme on that side. They're blue and red, so what I'm going to do is use the red bit that you can see and put that on the inside. I do a run of hot glue down the inside of the star, pop it on the garland, and then I'm going to put some glue around the outside of this star. Another star on that side. So now you've got a 2-sided red star. It does have that gap in there, which I was thinking about filling, but I thought I like that because it looks quite rustic and very country-ish. So I've decided to keep the little gaps as they are. Next, we want to put one of our pieces of wood on. So tie a knot where you want it to be. Move the knot down about there. You can measure this if you're feeling very efficient, but don't pull the knot too tight. And then thread your twine through the hole. What I find works is if you twist it as you thread it, it keeps it more firm so it goes through easier, and out it comes. And when you're getting close to the knot, a blob of hot glue, slide it down onto the knot and then pull it to the side so you know there's a nice bit of glue attaching that to the garland. As you can see, I'm doing red, brown, so just done brown, time for a red. So take one of your shabby bow things, get the end you tied it with, and then tie it onto the garland. What you'll find is if you tie this nice and tight with 2 knots, it won't move about. You don't need to glue it, but if you want to be extra careful, give it a blob of glue, it'll be fine. Now I'm going to go for some Christmas trees. So you can see the method. A line of glue down there. Now you can use anything you like for this. You don't have to use this sort of thing. You can cut out cardboard shapes. You can use pine cones. A bit further down. We need another piece of wood next. Keeping the orders a little bit difficult. I find anyway, I keep getting jumbled up. I'm going to put the wrong thing on. But if you did, don't worry, because probably nobody will notice when it's on the tree. So far I don't think I've got it wrong, but I may have. Any of you who are eagle-eyed may spot something in the future. This is my garland and I absolutely love it. It really does embody the whole country look of Christmas decorations that were made on a budget from bits and pieces they had around the house. I think that is going to look fabulous. Right, let's get on with project number 2 because I really can't wait to get decorating this Christmas tree. For this craft, I'm going to use a stick. It's about 4 inches long. I'm also going to use some fabric strips. This is great if you've got some fabric strips lying around. I've got these lovely red and white strips off a little girl's dress from a charity shop. There were big holes and stains, but I cut off all the good, which is just the sort of thing that people in a country cottage would have done to get their fabric to make rag decorations. So it fits perfectly with the theme. So I've got lots of those. I've got this little rag I've tied into a bow. That was off a men's shirt. And I've got this lining from a dress. Tear it once to see what angle it tears at, because this nylon never seems to tear at the right angle if you just cut straight in. And I'm going to cut that about 1.5 inches wide because it's not very substantial. And then tear that magical noise. Now we take our stick and tie a piece of fabric using a knot onto the bottom of the stick, but not quite the bottom. Leave a nice little gap as a trunk. Pull it nice and tight. Chop it off. And then for the first one, I always like to pull it up a little bit. Little blob of glue like that. And then push it down onto the glue to hold it in place. And then you tie on alternate fabrics. When you put the top piece in place, stick a bit of glue on, leave a little bit of space for your bow on the top. If you want something really crazy, you could leave it like that, but I'm going to shape this into a bit of a tree. So get everything where it should be on the one side. And then trim it into a tree shape and do the same on the other side. These little ends can be a bit unruly, so you've got to be firm with them. Show them who's boss. Now I'm going to glue my bow on the top. And then because the theme of this tree is reds, I'm going to use my red twine and make a hanging loop. Turn the tree over, run of glue, glue it into place. If you're just making one decoration, then you're finished, but if like me you're doing the whole tree, you will need more. So here are more that I've made. There's a brown one with a little heart on the top, and I've used a little bit of the hem off a shirt that I tore as a hanger. Here's another brown one. As you can see, they're all rather different, but that's part of the charm. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. There's a brown one with a bit of holly on the top. I tried one with a red berry on the top. Not sure about that berry, but it'll do. And I got one with a heart-shaped button on. And not to forget this little chap. So here I've got 7 very country-looking Christmas trees to hang on my Christmas tree. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's get on with the next craft right away. this next craft, I've got this bell. It's nothing exciting, it's plastic, it's off a decoration. The first thing I'm going to do is add a hanger. I've got some twine, but I'm not using the thick twine. This is all I've got left, so I'm hoping I can get to the end using this twine. And I've got 2 black wooden beads. I'm going to poke this end of the twine through the top of the bell and down. And this end, I'll need to snip that off because it's a bit frayed, and poke that in the other side. So I think that is about the length I want for the hanger. So I put my fingers up inside, pinch where it comes to the top. Oh, sorry, it's a bit clattery. And tie a knot there. Like that. And now when I put it up, it stays there with some of this twine hanging out the bottom. Now I get my beads, thread them on the twine. Easier said than done. Twine is terrible for unwinding. Now I want these, they're going to be the bells or the clappers, so make sure you've got your hanger pulled up tight, and then check what length you want them to be. I want them to just stick out a little bit, so about there. So marking that with a little pinch, tie a knot, and I'm going to make the next one a little bit shorter to add a bit of interest. You can try all different ways, because one of the charms with country style is that it hasn't all got to be matching. If anything, having different lengths and sizes and colours just adds to that charm. Then I'm going to cut off the ends, about there, slide them up and put a blob of glue on, just to be doubly sure I'm not going to lose the beads. And then fray the ends of your twine. Or you can cut it off straight if you want to with the bead, but I like it frayed a little bit. Again, I'm trying to make this look quite rustic. That just doesn't look very country style, does it? But don't worry, I've got a plan. This is where this comes into play. I'm going to put some glue over the top, some hot glue over the top of this little sticky out bit. Pop that on. Make sure the top is covered, like that. And then when the glue has cooled, make sure this is pulled up thoroughly. You don't want it drooping. And start winding around your bell. You can do this with a thinner twine. The thinner you use, the longer it takes, but a variety of thicknesses of twine on different bells would look lovely. Got to the end and I got this much left. I just made it. Now this next stage is optional. I'll take my finger protectors off. I love doing this, mainly because of the smell, but it's still fun anyway. There are lots of, can you see how tatty that looks? What you can do, be very careful over the top, and it just burns off the little sticky out ends. But I have to say, you probably need to be wearing safety glasses, mask, have a bucket of water handy, or preferably do this standing outside the fire station. Yep, I'm out of gas, but I've made a little bit of a start on it, so it's looking better already. Now we just need to decorate it. I'm going to make a simple 2-loop bow. Check which way the hanger runs, which is that way. And then I think I'll put this one on the top there. I like that. And that way then I can also add a little bit of glue just to be doubly sure we don't lose our hanger inside the bell. Pop that on there. Chop off the bottoms. And we finally, I think we need to put something on there. I think I'll put that piece of orange slice on. Oh yes, I like that. So if you're making a tree like I am, then you'll need more than one bell. So let's have a look. We've got this one, and this one, and this one. I only had 3 bells, so 3 bells it is. I love these. Right, come on to the next craft. I'm so excited. For this craft, we're going to use a pine cone, some of this red ribbon, And we're going to make a hanger with this. This is a really quick and easy one. Tie a knot, snip the bottom off the knot, put some hot glue on the top of, or the bottom of really, isn't it, your pine cone, and pop that into the hot glue, and then a little bow. Surprise, surprise. Glue that into place on the front of the hanger. And there, that is so simple and a perfect country style tree decoration, because the farmer or whoever the person was living in the country could just pop into the woods, find some pine cones, pop a little bit of ribbon on, even perhaps some ribbon off an old dress of one of their children, so they didn't even have to buy fresh ribbon. But did I make any more? I don't know why I say that, because you know I did. They're all pretty similar. I've made that one with little red gingham check. I've made this one with stripes and another excuse to pop a button on. And then another 2 gingham bow ones. When I started making the little gingham ones, I loved them so much I thought I'll make a few of those. So I did. Right, next craft. For this craft I'm going to use a curtain ring. And I'm going to use this buffalo check ribbon. Now, I ordered it thinking it was black. I'm pretty sure it's navy, but for the purpose of this tree, we're going to pretend it's black. I'm going to use some twine to make a hanger first. So fold it in half, put the loop through, put the tail through the loop, pull it tight, and a little blob of glue just to hold it in place, because it can slide around. If you're using a wooden curtain ring, it won't be so bad, but this is painted wood and it tends to be a bit slippy. And then we'll pick how long you want your hanger to be, tie a knot, and then snip the ends, not too close. Now take off some ribbon. It doesn't matter if you go too short, just join it as you're going along. Then wind your ribbon all the way around your curtain ring. Well, it's raining again. I don't know if you can hear the rain. Very noisy this evening. Perfect weather to be tucked away in a very warm house crafting, rather than being outdoors. Ooh. So now we've got a curtain ring. Doesn't look terribly exciting, but we're going to jazz it up a bit. Tie a knot in the bottom of a piece of twine, chop the end off, pop some glue on it, and then push it onto the top of the bell. If you tie this on, the bell won't hang nicely. Then poke it through the hoop. Decide how long you want it to be and tie a knot. Put a knot in the other end. Trim it off. You can tie these on. It's not a problem. It's just I like the way they sit better if you glue the end of a knot. Pop it in there. And then glue a little bow to hide where the hanger's attached and to add a little bit of interest. And then I'm going to glue a little Christmas tree onto the bow, just to add even more interest. You've got yourself a tree hanger. But you know I haven't just made the one. I made this one with red gingham and a stripy ribbon and a little reindeer and smaller bells. I've got this one, which is a torn strip of gingham with a little shabby bow on the top and some twine as a hanger and a little group of bells. This one I covered in red twine, so I hope you're getting some ideas by me showing you all the different alternatives. I didn't want to make them all the same on 2 counts. One, I think, being the country style, they would have made to amends and wouldn't have enough to make identical decorations. 2, I think the family would have joined in and made their own personality decorations. They'd all been slightly different. And 3, they would have done make to amends. What they had is what they worked with. And finally, I've got this one. I used some burlap and I really frayed the edges. Whoops, there's bits still coming off it. Wrapped it around a little bit of a strip of gingham with some danglies. You can see there, this was the first one I made. I tied the bells on and it doesn't sit right. Ah, it's round that side. I got it backwards. I was thinking, where's my bow gone? There's my bow. So I hope you've got some ideas there. Let's get on to that next project. Don't forget, wait till the end because we're going to decorate our tree in the country style. For this project, I've traced a heart shape onto a piece of cardboard, which I'm now going to cut out. Be careful when you're cutting this out because you don't really want to bend the cardboard. It's very difficult to cut into little dips without bending it. I keep cutting the waste off as I go. I got this piece of music, woodland song, solo for the pianoforte. Coat your cardboard with some Mod Podge, not too much because you don't want your paper to ruffle up, but if it does ruffle up, it's not the end of the world. I like this piece of music here, so I'm going to turn that over, check what level it's at, right down here, and I'm going to pop this heart on there, and hopefully I'll have some of the nice, exciting bit of music, and then cut around it. I'm going to sand off the paper edges. They just look a bit neater. Now this is much easier when the glue is dry. I'm rushing, so it isn't really dry enough to do this. Now I'm going to use my new twine. I've been on hold waiting for this twine to arrive. It arrived about an hour ago, so now I can get stuck into crafting again. Go around the outside with a little piece of twine. It doesn't need to be very thick, just the thickness of the cardboard. And it is difficult to not put too much glue on. Try your best not to get glue over the front of your heart. If you do get it on again, it doesn't matter. It's different if you're going to sell them. You have to keep the quality up. But if you're just going to be keeping them for yourself, then it's not so important. I've got this wooden mousse shape. I got it from a street market in France. I know. It's amazing what you find in these street markets. So I'm going to pop a mousse on there. I don't know why I'm going to pop a mousse on there, but I am. I just fancy the look on it. So now I'm going to make a hanger. Now you can finish the back off if you want to. I haven't been finishing the backs off because they won't be seen. Pop on my string, a little more hot glue, and then a piece of masking tape. I am going to put a little bit of ink in around the outside of this because I think it'll just give it a nice aged look. Know what you think. Let me know, would you have done this or would you have left it as it is? So that is one of my hearts. And surprise, surprise, there are more. I've got this one that I made with like a deep red mousse on and some red twine. I got this one, I'm not sure about it. This was made from the hem of a little girl's dress that I tore into a strip and put around there. I think it's a bit overly glued as well, but I think from a distance it'll look fine. I've got this one, which is a piece of fabric, hot glue everywhere, and a little medallion of lace there. I've got this one, which I covered in burlap, and then I used this bias binding with a very pretty edge on, glued on a tree, glued on a bow, and a red twine hanger. On this one, I thought I'll use a musical note, some green twine, and 2 beads. I thought that'd give it a little bit of extra interest. I've got this one, which was some glittered sheet out of a book, and I got a button, a little bit of burlap, and some red twine, and lots of hot glue, spaghetti everywhere. And I got this one, which I made with a little piece of brown gingham. This was out of a tub of pot puree, a little bow, and the edge is done in just a natural coloured twine. Right, that's another craft done out of the way. These are so quick and easy and so much fun. I think if you do these, you're really going to enjoy yourself. Right, on to the next craft. For this craft, we're going to need a pool ball and some twine. This is a 2mm twine. I'm going to run some twine down a line of glue, then make a hanging loop and pop some glue around where this stops being attached, if you see what I mean, where it comes away from the ball. Make my loop and then I'm going to go around from that point. I find this top very fiddly to do. I can't do it when I've got my finger protectors on, so I just give it a couple of seconds for the glue to cool before I get in there with my fingers, and that way I don't burn myself. Well, I don't burn myself as much. And now I'm going to cover over the top of this piece here, just anchors it in place, and go right the way around and cover right to the bottom of the bauble. which I absolutely love doing. One of my favourite things, but you can make this quicker by using a thicker twine. I don't know how thick you could go on your twine. I would have thought at least 4mm if you really are impatient and you want to get it done. Maybe 6mm, but I wouldn't push it much past that because I don't think you'd get smooth edges. I think it'd be a bit lumpy and bumpy, but if you want a lumpy and bumpy bauble, then fine. Now that I've finished the bauble, I'm cutting this piece of ribbon in half because I want just a narrow ribbon. And I'm going to glue this onto the top, around the bottom and back up to the top. Yes, I have got a blob of very hot glue on my hand. Ouch! And now I'm going to do the same, coming round the other way. It isn't the ideal to cut a ribbon in half, but this is quite a robust ribbon, so it's coping very well. And I don't mind it fraying a bit because, yep, you know, country style, that sort of thing really doesn't matter. And now I'm just going to pick 4 little buttons and put them in the middle there, ideally red. I think I can get away with that size. You can't put too big because it'll, if I show you there, that really doesn't work because the bauble is rounded. And I'm going to finish this off with a bow. I know I was very good last week. I didn't use any bows on my candy cane tree because they really didn't fit the style. But this week I can go bonkers with bows, which I'm going to do. And then glue the bow to the top of the bauble. I didn't check which way was the front. That way is going to be the front when he's hanging. So I'm going to stick it around there to move the glue around like that. There we go. That'll be fine. Improvisation, that's what crafting's all about. But oh no, one bauble isn't enough for a big tree. Aha, you know what's coming. I've got this one I made with a little bit of burlap and ribbon and then a little bit of holly and berries on. This one I just put a piece of lace all around the outside there. This one I used a lace medallion and then I got this little piece of tatty lace and I just loved the look on that. I thought that looked really country style. And I got this one. I wound a few. Why is that sticky out bit there? Let's chop that off. That's annoying me. And there. Right, so back to it. I've put some green, I don't know if it's a lace, it's like a shaped ribbon all the way around and some little berries on the front. This one I simply put the medallion on and nothing else. And then this was another simple one. Just a ribbon around the middle with a bow on the front. Oh, I just love these. I'm so enjoying this country style. What are you thinking of it so far? Are you enjoying it? I hope so. Right, come on, let's get on with the next craft. For this country style, if you're going to make more than one of these, which I may have done, then cut yourself out one and then you can use that as a template to make the rest. I'm going to use my straight edge and cut out the shape. Now I'm going to take a piece of wet fabric and wet the top layer of this cardboard. Make sure if you're doing this, it is a corrugated cardboard. You can see on the side there, you'll see the wiggles, so you know it's corrugated. While that's soaking in, it doesn't take long. I'll show you this. I've got a little piece of cinnamon stick. I'll be using that, but let's see if this is ready because we're going to peel the top layer off. It's a bit fiddly on the edges. You don't want to pick up this corrugated layer. That's coming off nicely. You can see you don't have to leave it for long. Sometimes you've got to run over it once more just to make sure you get all the little bits off. While that's drying, take your little piece of cinnamon stick. You could use a little bit of twig if you haven't got cinnamon sticks. Put some glue on. And it's nice and easy to find the centre of the tree. You just follow the top line of corrugation down, and that's the centre. Now in the ideal world, you would now let the cardboard dry, but I'm not going to, and I've got this Versa Magic, and it's in green. because I like the subtlety of this. I want this to have some green stripes on it, but I don't want a really vibrant green. So I just run along, and it's only picking up where the fat bits of the corrugation comes. If you want to do it all, you can. You can paint this. You can even paint in the grooves and leave the sticky out bits, the natural colour. And now I'm going to stick a simple decoration on. I got this, I'm not sure what it's off. I always keep lots of little bits and pieces I find around the place. So I'm going to glue this central on the tree. There's already a lot of glue on it. Put a bit more on and put it there. I'm going to make a little twine bow for the top of my tree, which I think suits it perfectly. This is quite a primitive country style, this. On it goes. Turn over my tree and then make a hanger from more green twine. And there we have a very simple to make, but very effective country style tree. Do you think I've made more than one? Correct, I have. I've got this one, which is very simple. It's just a little bit of a shabby looking bow with lots of bits fraying off it, which I loved. I want a baker's twine loop on the top. I've got this one, which has got an angel on the top and a little piece of orange slice. And I also put a little piece of cinnamon stick along the bottom with a twine hanger. This one with a star on the top, some baker's twine, and I put some buttons on. A good excuse to use some buttons, and also those plain looking ones that are nothing special. Look at all this hot glue spaghetti. I made this one with a spotty button and a piece of gingham along the bottom. I've got this one with some acorns and a little bit of foliage. And I've got this one with another tatty bow and 2 Christmas trees on the Christmas tree. I may have mentioned this before, but I'm really enjoying doing these crafts. Right, on with the next craft. Oh, well, I'm going to have to talk you through this one. I forgot to turn my camera on. I've been chatting away to you and there was nobody there. So I took my wood round and I cut out this little piece of a Santa face, used some Pritt stick, this one's Scotch glue stick, glued it on. Then I used some baker's twine to make a hanger. I made a little bow with, we all know it's navy and white, but we're pretending it's black and white. And I put a little button on. It's always good to have an excuse to use a button. So that was a very quick craft to show you because you missed all the interesting bits. But let's have a look at other ones I made too, for some other ideas. They're all on roughly the same theme because I used the same decoupage sheet for all of them. So I've got some children here singing and behind I put a little bit of music. And then I used some ink to darken the edges to age it a bit. I've got this Santa, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Got his tree, oops, I'm a bit high. Got his tree and I'm not quite sure what this is. I think it may be a kite, possibly. No idea, but he's got lots of toys. And then I've got this one with Santa leaning in and showing you a book of a child smiling and a child crying. Not sure why. This one, because Santa is playing the violin, that's not supposed to be on there. Whoops. There we go, got rid of that. Santa playing a violin, so I put some sheet music behind. It's very simple to do. And another one with just the decoupage on and no bow. And another one with just some decoupage on with no bow. You can put a bow on if you want to. I thought this one looked really plain, so it needed something. But I think these are perfectly fine without any bows. I know, it's not very often you hear me say that. So there we go, more crafts. We're very near the end now. Don't forget to hang around and you'll see me decorating the tree. It's topper time, and I remember to turn the camera on this time. Right, I've got this ribbon burlap, or burlap ribbon. Take my tag off. I got this from Watt. I don't know if you have Watt in other countries. Open these. I love this. Free twine. Who doesn't love free twine? Now this one has got like a red glittery look to it. And this one's got a green. Now I'm not keen on the glitter look for the country style, but this is the only... Look at that, you can see my paintbrush with my glue on. Put it out of the way. I've got something wet wrapped around it so that it doesn't dry out until the end of the video. Anyway, back to my bow. So I'm going to use this glittery because I haven't got any plain. I don't want anything too extravagant. I know, very strange for me. So I'm going to decide how big I want my bow to be. And this is going to be scrunched up, and it's still got integrity enough to hold itself. But do you think that's a bit wide? I think so. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Come over there, like that. I think that's probably a more sensible size. And then measure exactly the same with my red one. Scrunch it up. Look at that already. And then use a pipe cleaner and tie it as tightly as you can manage. Scrunch it up, make sure it's central, pop the pipe cleaner into place. This is quite strenuous on the hands because this burlap is so stiff. And then twist. And I'm going to be joining those together like that. So I'm going to get a bigger pipe cleaner because the little ones won't go around it. And then join the one on top of the other. Now we're going to need some tails. Decide how long you want them to be. And then I'm going to cut a green one a little bit shorter. Oh, that may have the decision made for me because I haven't got a lot. Run out. Yep, that's going to be that size. Fold it in half. Fold this one in half. I've got glitter everywhere. Scrunch it up and fix it with another pipe cleaner. I'm going to wrap this pipe cleaner around the other pipe cleaner, so I put the shorter one on the front and then tighten it. Now snip my ends off again. Bring the brown pipe cleaner around and tighten it. Check the length. I'm going to chop this really tiny curl bit off the bottom of there. I think I'm okay lengthwise. There. Still a bit curly, but not as bad as it was. And then check these for length. And because of my very poor measuring, I need to take a little bit off the bottom of that one too. Again, I'm not going to dovetail these because I don't want dovetails on this. I want it to look more primitive. And before I actually assemble my tree, I am going to have to get my iron out. I know, I don't like doing it. And flatten that off because it's too curly where it's from the end of the roll. Now I'm going to tuck any ends that are poking out of sight. I'm going to use some of this plain burlap to go over the front of the bow. Poke it into place. Right over the top. Then glue it round to the bottom, as far round as you can go. Like that. Now we need some embellishments on this bow. I'm going to look in my bag of bells. Got this big chunky one. If I had two, I think that would look lovely, but just being the one, I don't think it's going to look good when it's just one. Got 3 of these. Oh, I think that would be better. Oh, yes. Isn't that going to look wonderful? Definitely, this is the right decision. Make that one a bit longer than the other 2. And I got a nice little dangle of bells. And glue this up under the bow there. So now I've got a few alternatives for the front of this. I'll show you what I've got. Got this reindeer. I can put that on there. The heart. I think the heart's going to win. I've got this with the seashell on. I'd take the seashell off, but what would that look like? Oh, that's quite nice. And I've got a red heart. So it's that heart or that heart. I think that one goes better. So I'm going to glue this into place. It's going to be quite a challenge because it's quite a chunky heart. I'm going to pop a little bit of foliage around it too, I think. Right, the time has come. I'm going to go iron the ends of this now. If I can find them, it's curled right up there. I'll be ironing this, and then we're going to start assembling our country style tree, and I am so excited about that. Right, no time to chat, let's get on with it. So now it's time to put our tree topper on. I've ironed these little tails and they're a bit straighter, but they don't want to stay straight. And on the back there, through the loop that we've made, I put a nice brown pipe cleaner so it matches the colour scheme a little. I'm just going to bend the top of this over because this is quite a heavy topper. Surprising how heavy burlap is. That's quite central. I'm going to lower the camera now because we don't need to see the topper. We want to see more of the tree as I decorate. Now, let's try something else on the tree. Turn my camera up a bit because it was chopping my head off. Right, so I'm going to put the bells on now because they're quite big and make a bit of a statement. So I want them to be neatly and orderly spread through the tree while still not looking too uniform. So now let's tackle our selection of hearts. Next, the little Christmas trees. As you can see, with the amount we've made, this is a 6-foot tree and there is more than ample to do the front of a 6-foot tree. If you wanted to do the back as well and you want it to look very full, I'd double up the amount of decorations. I think we do the baubles next, why not? I've just found some more hearts. Whoops, we better get those on. Now for our rag trees. Already I'm thinking, even if you had to decorate right the way around this tree, as long as you don't want it overstuffed, then I think we've made enough decorations. I'm starting to get a bit tight for space. And finally, our pine cones. Well, I love this tree. That is about the amount I like to see on a tree. I like it pretty well stuffed. Not overly stuffed unless it's in certain styles. Some styles they just scream out, put more on, put more on. But I love this. Should we turn the lights on? So this is it with static lights. Should we try twinkling as well? I do love a twinkly light sometimes. And that's it twinkling, isn't it gorgeous? I absolutely adore this country style. I wasn't sure how it was going to work out when I started, but I'm glad I made that journey. It's always the same with any craft. If you're not sure, give it a try. You'll be amazed at what you can come up with. I've made 1 or 2 country things, but I never thought I could make all these country things for one tree.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day.
If you've enjoyed this video, then why not subscribe? Because that way you'll get to see all the other Christmas decorations I've got coming out before the big day. Next year, we've got an action-packed lot of videos coming up. We've got spring, summer, fall, winter, Easter, Valentine's Day. So many ideas. We're going to have a lot of fun. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you all next time, but until then, don't forget, have fun!